Today I'm sewing up one of the brand new patterns from Backstitch and Baste. I'll be sewing up the Cosmetica. This pattern is designed to be a toiletry bag. There's also a smaller size, which is the Cosmeticini. Let's go ahead and look inside and talk about the features of this pattern. So the smaller one does not have a zipper pocket on the back, has a zip top opening, plenty of room inside. I chose to use 2 zipper pulls on all of my versions. You don't have to, of course. You do have some pull tabs on the side to help you when opening and closing. The larger version does have a zipper pocket on the back, and you do have the same zip top opening. I have a slip pocket on one side, nothing on the other, a lot more room on this one. On all of my versions, I used a cotton woven or cotton canvas on the top. On 2 of them, I used a cotton woven on the bottom. 1, I used a vinyl. On this one, I used a foam. The other 2, I used fleece. Let's look at the difference between these because I want to talk a little bit about that. So I do like the feel of the foam better. When I smash it, it pops back up perfectly. When you smash the fleece, it does take a while to recover, and you can just kind of help it out a little. So that is the main difference, is that structure. However, it's a little more challenging to sew with the foam. The more structure in this bag will make those last few steps just a little more tricky. So all in all, I do prefer the foam. But in today's version, what I'm going to do is an in-between of both of these. For this one, I did not add SF101 to the exterior. I just added the fleece. So the version I'm sewing today, I will add SF101 and fleece. And then my bottom is a thicker vinyl than this one. And so it will have a layer of fleece kept out of the seam allowance. I'm hoping that those options will help me get that perfect combination in between. It'll have a little more structure, but it'll be a little bit easier on those final steps. We'll see how it goes. But you can see the difference in size on these 2 options. The small is quite a bit smaller. You can also tell probably I like the larger version better. I am sewing another one of the larger versions, the Cosmetica, again in today's video. This pattern has a lot of unique ways that it comes together. I'm going to do my best to illustrate them perfectly in this video. However, as someone who has their own ways of sewing things, some of the ways I'm putting this together will differ from the pattern. I will point them out to you. For example, the top, I sewed the top on just a little bit differently. Same exact result in the end. But I do just want to take the time to clarify that some things might be a little different than in the pattern, but it will still give you the very same result. It's just a difference in technique. Now let's go ahead and look at all the pattern pieces we're going to need to complete this pattern. We do not have a lot of pieces that we need to complete this pattern. I'm going to have 3 zipper pulls, but you really only need 2. You could get away with 1 if you do not want to do the pocket on the exterior. I'm going to have 2 pieces of zipper tape. I have them cut according to the pattern measurements. I'm using a number 5 zipper tape. I'm going to have 2 sets of lining pocket pieces. One is going to be a slip pocket for the inside of the bag. The other lining zipper pocket pieces are going to be for the exterior zipper pocket. So we have 2 pieces of each. For the slip pocket, both of those pieces are cut from the same pattern piece. But for the exterior zipper pocket, you have 2 separate pattern pieces, but we also need to do a little bit of prep work on these pieces. We're going to have 4 side pieces, 2 exterior and 2 lining. My exterior pieces are going to be a vinyl. This vinyl is from my little shindig, and I do have a layer of fleece on the back kept out of the seam allowance. And I have a layer of just SF101 on all of my cotton canvas pieces. To help us in making that exterior zipper pocket, we will have 1 pocket facing. We are going to have 2 exterior panel pieces. This is going to be that top part of the bag. Mine is a cotton canvas with a layer of SF101 on the back, but kept out of the seam allowance, I do have a layer of fleece. If you are making the pocket, you will want to use the pattern piece to be able to cut out the fleece, foam, Decaville Light, whatever stabilizer you use. Use that pattern piece to cut it out so that you can create that zipper pocket easily on the exterior without having a lot of bulk. Also, you can see I have some pink, they may look orange on camera, marks on this bag. The pattern tells us to make those marks on the 2 exterior panel pieces. The pattern also tells you to make sure you mark the centers of everything as well. These marks here will aid us later when we come to the very last steps of this bag. I think the pattern tells you actually to use dots and stars, but I just use different colored markers. So on my 2 exterior top or exterior panel pieces, it's the same color. However, on this bottom piece, which is going to be a vinyl, I'm using a different color marker. I'm using a blue. So just make for sure that you'll be able to tell the top from the bottom in the corner marks. So on your bottom piece, you will have 4 corner marks. And then on the top piece, you will have 2 on each piece for a total of 4 as well. For the lining pieces, we have this shape right here. I'm using a cotton woven. Not for sure where this came from. A friend actually gifted it to me, but I do have a layer of SF101 on the back of it as well. The only other pieces you need are some pull tabs. You can make these pull tabs out of your exterior fabric. You could use webbing, you could use fold over elastic, vinyl, whatever you want. But basically you cut them out according to the pattern measurement. You fold the raw edges in, and then I'm just going to fold it again. The pattern has you top stitch down both long edges at 1/8 of an inch away. You can go ahead and do that. I'm not going to do it. I'm actually going to go ahead and have these folded, and then I'm just going to do a top stitch around here to attach them completely so that they are fully closed and not open at all. So those are the pieces we need to start this pattern. Let's go ahead and start sewing everything up. The first steps on this pattern is to create that exterior zipper pocket. I'm going to tell you this is completely different than how I typically sew a zipper pocket. So what we do first is we take that front piece, that top exterior piece, then we take this zipper pocket facing piece and we place it right sides together. The pattern tells you how far down it's going to be from the top. So I clip that together, but then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to draw my box, this comes from the pattern piece, onto this wrong side. This opening you left in your fleece or foam or Decaville Light, whatever you're using. Then I actually sew it from this wrong side. This makes me nervous. I'm typically used to sewing it like this way so I can make sure this doesn't shift. I feel it's a little risky. But I want to show you this technique because you might be someone who prefers doing it this way than the other way. So always when you're sewing a pattern, do what works best for you. But I'm going to show you how the pattern has it done. So we are going to sew directly on that box that I drew, the rectangle. I'm going to backstitch when I start and stop. Then I will cut an opening in the middle to pull that facing through. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to fold this in half and then make that center cut. Cut towards both edges and then you angle and veer towards the corner about 1/2 to 1/4 of an inch away. Get as close as you can to those corner stitches without going through them. If you have any pulling whenever you turn this or any kind of puckering, then it means that you just need to get closer to those corners. Now I'm going to take the time to push this through. I'm going to go over the iron and go really slow so I get a really nice opening on this piece, and then we're going to do the other steps. But before I go and iron that, I want to show you one other thing so I can prep it off camera as well. On your piece H, what you're going to do is you're going to use a pattern measurement to draw a line. This is that pocket lining piece for this. This is a technique I have never seen done. So I'm going to cut these 2 pieces. And then what the pattern tells me to do is it tells me to make a memory crease. It gives me the measurement of how big of a crease I make. A memory crease is just when you kind of finger press it. You can take it over the iron too, but it's not like you have to. You're just having a fold there, so whenever you do the next step, the fabric kind of already knows which way to lay. It makes it lay a little easier. So I'm going to fold on the top edge of the bigger piece and then flip this around on the bottom edge of this smaller piece. So this is where I'll do those 2 folds, and then when I come back we will add the zipper to these pieces and finish up this pocket. So here is that top exterior panel piece. I have that opening pressed flat. I'm going to set it aside. Here is that top piece of the lining. Here's the bottom piece. Now I do have those folds pressed like a memory fold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the bottom piece, and I'm going to have it right sides up, and I'm going to have that fold unfolded. I'm going to take my zipper tape and I'm going to place it right sides up on top, matching that unfolded edge. I'm going to sew this in place, both the lining and zipper right sides up with the seam allowance given in the pattern, but definitely note that seam allowance. Now you can go ahead and fold on your memory fold, not on your stitches, but on your memory fold. You should be looking at the right side of the fabric and the wrong side of the zipper. If you are confused on this at all, just remember that when you open the zipper, you want to be able to see the pretty fabric inside. Now we know that we need this zipper pocket to end up looking like this on the end. So make sure you attach them this way with that folded edge there. So when you sew it together, it can flip up just like this. So it is the right side of this top lining piece against the wrong side of the zipper tape. So just take time to do kind of a common sense check, because I do feel like this technique is a little tricky, especially if you are used to sewing zipper pockets the other way. So there is how that looks. Flip it up, and then this is what it looks like from the wrong side of the zipper. This is what it looks like from the right side. I'm going to pull out my zipper pull and put it on. If you have already attached yours, you don't need to worry about it, but if not, go ahead and make sure you add your zipper pull. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and baste down these sides. We want to baste these seams flat so everything lays nice and flat. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your exterior panel and lay it right on top here so that you can sew all around that box to attach this zipper with this piece here. You want to make sure you have it centered, so take the time to go to the back, get everything laying really nice. If you like to use double-sided tape here, you could use pins, whatever you prefer to do. But I am just going to kind of leave it open there. It looks really good there. And I'm going to go ahead and sew around the perimeter of this box. I'll make sure that I'm keeping the zipper teeth in the middle the entire time. This is what you have at this point. Let's go ahead and flip it over, look at it from the back. Take your other pocket lining piece and go ahead and place it right sides together so that you can sew all around. If you want to leave your opening here in your zipper pocket for you to turn, you would only sew the sides and the top. I prefer to leave my opening in the lining. Leaving the opening here in your pocket would be a neater finish, so it's whichever way you prefer. But what you're going to do is you're just going to clip these pieces together and sew all around the perimeter or the three sides. Here is how that zipper pocket looks. Pull out that bottom piece, and now what you're going to do is you're going to match up the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and kind of flip that pocket out of the way. I don't want to attach yet, but I am going to flip this bottom, and so I'm going to match up these two bottom raw edges. Add some clips here if you want. You don't really have to, but it might help you keep everything steady. Make sure you're having that pocket folded out of place, and let's go ahead and sew with the seam allowance given the pattern. This is back to the original seam allowance at this point. Once we have that, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and flip the seam so that it goes behind this exterior panel. I'm going to kind of press it flat, and then I'm going to top stitch all along this exterior panel. That will secure the seam of both these pieces onto this exterior piece. I'm just going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch away here. This is what I have at this point. Now, I want to go ahead and point out a couple things I do differently. The pattern has you stop here and then go ahead and start adding the zipper onto the top. I prefer to go ahead and add my other piece to the bottom, and then I'm going to separate my zipper and add each zipper piece and lining piece individually. If you have a zipper that you cannot separate, like it's a closed-in zipper, or if you're someone who just doesn't really prefer to have to put a pull on a zipper whenever it's not on the bag, go ahead and do the other method in the pattern. I'm going to go ahead and attach the other side to this piece, and then so here is how that exterior looks. Love the way it's looking. It looks great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the lining. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on a slip pocket. That's the only pocket I'm adding to the lining. I'm going to leave the opening here on this side, so I'm going to sew around the other 3 sides. I'm going to sew a little bit on this side here, just so it makes it easier to tuck that raw edge in. So you can see what I have. I have the 2 slip pocket pieces, right sides together. I left my opening here on this short side and sewed all around. I'm just going to trim off these corner pieces so it'll look better whenever I turn it. Just having a little bit better of a point. You can trim all the seam allowances off if you want, but I'm not going to. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that pocket right sides out, but I'm going to take time to make sure I press out those corners. You can take this over to the iron if you want, but just put your fingers in there to kind of pull tight to let that raw edge go inside. I'll add some clips here. I'm going to top stitch across the top, which is going to be this edge here for me. Just do about 1/8 of an inch away. Let's pull out a lining piece to attach this to. With the lining piece, remember that these skinnier pieces, the smaller pieces, are the top and the larger ones are the bottom. Take your slip pocket piece, use the pattern measurements to figure out the placement, but you'll measure down from the top and then you will center in from the sides. The pattern tells you that you can divide this if you want. I'm not going to. I'm just going to top stitch from the top right down across the bottom up the other side. So here is how that looks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this lining piece to my exterior. Now yours is going to look differently if you are following the pattern. It's going to end up the same way, it's just a different method. For me, what I'll do is I'm going to baste on my zipper tape, and then I'm going to add on this lining piece just like a traditional zipper sandwich. You don't have to baste, you can just sew all 3 pieces together if you want. Remember to take the shorter pieces to the top. It should all match up. You can see they're matching perfectly, but just make sure you're doing it the right way so you avoid any mistakes. Clip that lining piece right sides together so the zipper tape and the exterior are right sides together and the lining is right sides together with the exterior. This time I'm going to sew across here with the full seam allowance given in the pattern. Now that you have those pieces sewn together, let's go ahead and flip them. And we want to top stitch. I am going to take these lining pieces and kind of clip them together because I know that lining is going to try to creep up and get behind my zipper, and I definitely don't want it to. So I will make sure, I'm going to be sewing 1/8 of an inch away, but I'm going to make for sure that this entire time I'm kind of holding that lining down and pulling and making sure it's not going up past where it needs to be. Now what I'm going to do now that I have that done is I want to repeat the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that exterior all the way over and match up the sides so that everything is in line. The reason why I'm doing this before I pull apart the zipper is just to make for sure I have it all even, and if I didn't, it'd be okay. It's just going to make it easier if I have it even first. I'm going to go ahead and baste this all together. So the zippers again, right sides together with my exterior. Just go ahead and grab that other lining piece, match it up. So with that full seam allowance. So this is how everything looks. Now I'm going to separate these so I can get a really nice top stitch on it. Now I can top stitch. After I get the top stitch, then I will add the zipper pulls to this piece and we will be back to the exact spot where the pattern is. It's just a different technique, but the exact same result on the end. So we'll go off camera and top stitch this edge, and when I come back, I'll have that top stitched and the zipper pulls attached. So let's look at what I have now. Here is my exterior. It's all completed. Everything's done. I have the zipper pulls on in there. I trimmed up the zipper tape. Looks great. My lining, I have the bottoms unsewn. So I'm going to put these bottoms together, match them up, and I'm going to sew across the bottom. I have to leave an opening for me to turn this bag through. If you left yours through the zipper pocket on the exterior, you don't have to do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to clip this top parts together. It's not really this side, maybe the side of the zipper, but we're just going to clip them wrong sides together. Makes a lot of sense the way they want to go. So you just clip them, line them up. Shouldn't be any problems here. And you're going to baste. Now the way I'm choosing to do this is I push my lining to the back and I leave it against the table. Where this is a little bit bulkier, that just makes more sense. I'm going to go ahead and slip my pull tab in here. Which way do I want it? I want it this way. I'm going to go ahead and place that there while I'm basting, just to have it, because on one of mine I forgot it and I don't want to forget it on this one. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other side too, just so I do not forget that other pull tab. Now that I have both of those pull tabs attached, now I'm going to add the side pieces. Now just ignore the fact that my side pieces for the lining are a different print. I ran out of this print. Just ignore that part. But take out one exterior and one lining. This part right here, the smaller part, is what's going to attach to the top. So you're going to take that shorter edge and it should match it perfectly. You can see how well it fits there. It is the exterior, of course, is going to be right sides together with the exterior. Just go ahead and clip that in place. If you wanted, you could baste that. I do not feel like it needs to be basted, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that lining piece and place it right sides together with the lining. So now I'm going to again put this to where the lining is on the bed of my machine. I'm going to sew across that edge with the seam allowance given. I'm going to be going through all of these layers here. So this is what we have at this point. I take those two side pieces and I just pull them wrong sides together, give a good little tug. And now what you're going to do is you're going to top stitch across that edge you just sewed, and then you can baste all the way around. So now I have that side piece sewn on, the exterior and the lining, and this is what we're looking at. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to take this bottom piece and this bottom piece. So the bottom piece of the exterior is going to go right sides together with that unsewn edge of this side piece. So just clipping it along there. Take that bottom of the lining and you're going to pull it to where it goes right sides together with the lining. I want to make sure my seam is laying flat here. I'm going to sew this while I'm looking at the bottom of the lining, just because I want to press that seam flat when I go across it. I'm going to sew all of those pieces now. I'm going to do the same steps for the other side, but here's where it's going to start getting a little bit tricky. So we're going to have to box these corners. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that before I even do everything else. Let's go ahead and get this all taken care of. Do you remember those marks I made in the beginning? Let me go ahead and trim up that facing. It's a little long. Let me get it out of the way. We don't need it anymore. Okay, so those marks I made in the beginning. The pink are for the top exterior. I'm going to put my finger right there where that is. See that split right there? I'm just going to pinch it closed, right sides together. Let's just add one clip there. And I'm going to start going down, add another clip, come over to this other side, that blue mark. That is that bottom exterior. Let's put a clip there. This is the part where if you have a lot of interfacing or if it's really stiff, it's going to give you trouble. Now you can see when I did that, that piece wanted to kind of lay flat. It kind of wanted to pop into place. These seams are going to be right on top of each other. I'm pulling, I'm getting everything to line up. I'm going to put a clip right here. Add another clip, and that pretty much takes care of the exterior. But we got to get that lining in there as well. So I come over to the lining. There is that split there for that lining. I pinch it, and I'm going to pull it back to where that pink line is. It's going back, and it's going to lay directly on top of it. The first one you do of this is kind of crazy, but now at this point it doesn't even bother me. It really comes together easy, and your brain kind of figures it out. I'm just clipping that lining right on top of the exterior. I'm just moving my clips. I had this really crazy lining piece all out here, and I'm like, where's it going to go? It's going to go all the way back here. So I got to pull it back there. Is it going to go nicely? No, it's going to fight you, but you're going to pull it. If you need to get out those bigger clips, go ahead and grab those. If these little ones aren't doing it. It depends on your materials or not, if those little ones will do it. Okay, so one more clip here. You're looking at this and you're like, that looks horrible. It does. I agree with you, it does, but I promise it works every time. This is my fourth one. So when you take it over to your machine, it's not going to want to lay completely straight. So you kind of spread things out. See me pulling this lining? I'm just spreading everything out. I take it under the machine and I sew across there with the full seam allowance. It really should be pretty much a straight line at the end. So this looks kind of crazy, but I promise it's going to work. You're going to sew in a straight line and you're like, I don't even see a straight line. I know. But you start with that full seam allowance here at the top. Start spreading everything out. Your little seam here, it'll kind of poke out. They call it a dog ear. That's okay, we'll trim that off. But you're still keeping that seam allowance going all the way down. The main thing you want to watch for is that you don't get a lot of puckers on this other side. That is the thing you're really checking to make for sure of. I'm going to trim up that overhang just so you can see it a little bit clearer. Trimming that off helps you to see that it goes straight across. You have to do that on all four corners. So this is the first one. We got another one here. So 2 on this side, 2 on this side. On this side, I still have to get everything combined. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera, finish up that side, finish up all these boxed corners. I'm going to turn it right sides out and even close up that opening in my lining. So when I come back, everything will be done. Here's my fourth one of these bags made. Now this is the third Cosmetica. I did make the one small Cosmeticini, but I do prefer the bigger size. I did go back to the fleece on this one. I'm back and forth. I think I like the foam better, but the foam makes it a little bit of a harder sew in my opinion. My zipper on the back, I'm going to have to do some shaping here because I really want this to kind of stay perky there, and you can see how the zipper is kind of collapsing in on itself. So my sides look good because I have the vinyl there to provide a lot of structure, so I like that part. But maybe just, okay, so maybe I need to make a fifth one of these where I have foam up here but fleece down here. I don't know. I'm on this like just mission to have it the perfect feel that I want. Inside looks great. Love it so much. This pattern always just turns out perfect. I don't know. My interfacing is my issue, but like, look at those sides. I mean, that's just like crazy good in my opinion. Can you see that okay? Yeah. So I mean, just look at that shape. Just so good. Love the shape. So my fabric is from Jen's Fabric. The vinyl is from My Little Shindig. I think my zippers are, I think the zipper is from Mormino. I don't know where the pulls came from. This pattern is from Backstitch and Baste. I'm going to have the link to everything in my description. Such a fun pattern. I know the video is a little hard to show those box corners, but really, if you have any questions, definitely let me know, and I'll try to even maybe do a better version of it if I need to, but it's not hard. The first time you do it, you'll be kind of confused a little, but really after that, it's just, I don't even think about it now. It comes together so easy. So definitely try this pattern. I love the shape. I really want to use these in my kitchen. I know that seems odd, but I just want all kinds of these sitting on the counter, just holding like my supplements or snacks or candies. I just think they're so cute and I love this shape. So I probably won't use these much in the bathroom, but they're just great bags. I love them so much. You can see the fleece makes it a little floppy there compared to that like really good structure of the foam. I don't know. Maybe Decaville light and fleece. I don't know. Why is it so much on my mind to have that perfect structure on this one? I think because I love the pattern so much. Thanks so much for watching another tutorial of mine, and I hope today in your sewing room you just get to have fun with a pattern, maybe even implement some of your favorite techniques on it, or try some techniques that they teach you that might be new. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.